Hey, remember last night when we talked to you about Shoenice, that old YouTuber who's apparently like doesn't get any views anymore and isn't really doing much of anything? He used to be a thing. He's one of those guys that like I've heard of before, but I've never watched him. I couldn't tell you what he does. He was having a real insecure day yesterday, was Shoenice. And he decided that he was going to put up a poll on his YouTube channel. You know, you can put up posts. They don't have to be videos. They can just be posts or whatever. And Shoenice decided to put a poll up asking his audience if he is a YouTube legend. Now, that sounds very douchey, doesn't it? That's because it sounds douchey, because it is. He put up a poll that said, am I a YouTube legend? Now, if you ask, if you're feeling down and you've got a following and you've got fans, you usually go to those fans and ask them something like that because you're feeling insecure and you know they'll pick you up and they'll say yes. You know that you've asked a fucked up, desperate, begging for attention question when your own audience votes in the negative. Shoenice's own audience said, no, you're not a YouTube legend, which in fairness is accurate. I think the guy's only had views that were in the hundreds of thousands. You can't be a YouTube legend and only have views in the hundreds of thousands. Like, let's throw out some YouTube legends. I would say, well, YouTube's been around since what, 06, 07? So in the last 15, 16 years, who would be considered a legend? PewDiePie, of course, comes to mind right away. PewDiePie is a YouTube legend. Millions of views. Keemstar is a YouTube legend, I would say. Shoenice, not so much. Not so much Shoenice. Philip DeFranco, YouTube's official newsman, is a YouTube legend. Shoenice, not so much. Well, as of today, he took the poll down. Shoenice. Now, there's so many failures on so many levels with this story. I mean, the first failure being that you put that question up in the first place. The next one being that your own audience told you, no, you're not a YouTube legend. We're not stroking you the way you want us to stroke you. And then the third one, that after that happened, instead of you embracing it and going, it's kind of cringe and whatever, I'm owning it at least. Here you go. I misstepped. Nope. He took it down. It's kind of like that Looney Tunes cartoon where Bugs Bunny goes, 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. Just 3 repetitive swings at the same pitch. And he managed to miss it every single time. Balls Deep, thank you very much for the $13 super chat. He says, you brought me to YouTube. That makes you a legend to me. Well, isn't that nice of you, buddy? I appreciate that. 445 away from our goal tonight. Again, we missed it by 60 this morning. That's twice in a week we've missed our goal. So like I said, the economy's getting tight. You can't blame people for that. I just really hope we can maintain our goals on this program because... well, our goals are set to like, hey, this is how we keep the lights on. So we appreciate anybody who chips in. There's the PayPal link, the Streamlabs link. Of course, super chats and memberships are really big as well. So Shoenice deleted his poll asking whether or not he's a YouTube legend. I think if the poll answer of no wasn't enough, the deletion of the thing is probably enough. Also, I saw an Axios poll today. I thought this was really interesting and actually really encouraging, this Axios poll. It showed that more Americans are interested in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case than they are abortion and Ukraine. It went Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. And then after that, I think it went inflation. I think Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, people wanted to hear about more than inflation or the economy. And then it went Joe Biden, and then it went abortion, and then it went Ukraine after that. And I was so happy to see that. You know, a lot of people say that, people follow that bullshit like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. They should be following the real news. Why? I always wondered why people say that. Why? Ryobi says typical USA shiny object. But hear me out, Ryobi. I think that's a good thing. I think it shows that this country is mature, that this country is a grown-up nation, that's what we focus on. There's something very adult to just ignoring the shit you have no impact on. There is something adult about going, why the fuck would I depress myself with that horse shit when I could watch this thing that makes me giggle and laugh and has no impact on my life? Why am I going to spend my free time, especially now with the economy the way it is and the way things are going? Why wouldn't you, when you get to turn something on or follow something or watch something, go, I'm going to watch my favorite comedy podcast. Hey, how you doing? Or I'm going to watch these two people, these two famous millionaires, rip each other a new one and look like complete narcissistic head cases. I would much rather watch that. Or I can watch kids get blown up by artillery strikes. Ooh, that'll make me look really in the know. Then I can dazzle people with my knowledge of foreign events at parties. I got bad news for you. No matter how closely you follow Ukraine and Russia, you're wrong, you're full of shit, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no clue. But if you watch Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, there is no wrong answer. Oh, man, she's really a psychopath. Yep, you nailed it. Oh, man, he's really fucked up, too. Yep, you nailed it. Boy, I'm glad I'm not either of them. Yep, you nailed it. Like, you watch the thing on Roe v. Wade and abortion, no matter which side you take, you're an asshole, you're an idiot, you don't fucking care about anybody. Why do I want to deal with that? Ukraine and Russia. I don't want us giving them $40 billion. I don't want to mind our own business. Isolate. Be done with it. Forget it. Ukraine's on the Russian border, for fuck's sake. They've almost driven them all the way back. Who gives it? We're done. It's over. Why are we worrying about this shit? People do this weird thing where when you tell them you care about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and you don't care about abortion or Ukraine, they get high and mighty like, you don't know, man. And we're all in the know, dude. It's like, shut up. You do not. You're sitting there jerking yourself off because you read a couple of articles or you watched a couple of videos. And by the way, knowing all that shit like an encyclopedia, guess what? It ain't helping. I don't see the war ending any sooner because you watched a 1.5-hour documentary from God knows where. But you know what? The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, it's going wherever it's going, and I'm just buckled in and along for the ride. Ghislaine writes, a lot of biolabs. Why do I give a fuck? Me giving a fuck about those biolabs being there does nothing to change the outcome of any of that. If I pay attention to it, all it's going to do is scare me and bum me out, with me having zero control of what's going to happen. It's the same thing with climate change. People are like, well, why don't you follow climate change? Because whatever's going to happen with the environment is going to happen. I'm living my life the way I'm living my life. I don't need to be scared and depressed. Thanks. And what is it? What was the other one? Abortion. I'm a guy. What do I give a fuck about abortion? Kill your baby. I don't give a shit. I'll do with my babies what I want to do. You do with your babies what you want to do. Leave me the fuck alone. I ain't got time for you people. But, you see a poll and people lament it. They go, oh, did you see that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp is like the biggest news story in the country? People just have their heads up their asses, man. No, I think that shows that that gives me faith that we're maybe still a little bit of a smart country. That we're following the shit that's funny and entertaining and it's bullshit and it alleviates our day a little bit. Great. Why would you want to turn on the news and listen to news about the economy? You live the economy all day long. Why would you want to turn on YouTube and watch shit on the economy? Do you know people who like really hate Joe Biden? And they'll like watch stories about how bad the country's doing so they can dislike Joe Biden and blame the shit on Joe Biden? Isn't that wild that people do that? It's like you're making yourself miserable. Meanwhile, this guy's not going to spend a day less in office or a day more in office because you just did that. And all you did was have somebody pump really terrible news into your ears because you could take that terrible news and fuel process it into hate to, I guess, somehow make you feel better. I don't know what people are getting out of it. You ever see these people who really follow the news and criticize you for watching fluff shit? They're never happy. And yet you walk around just going, tra-la-la. Did you see Amber Heard? Boy, she really looked like shit. God, that Johnny Depp's lawyer's a fucking pit bull in heels, isn't she? Holy Christ, is she good. If I ever get in trouble, write down that name. What's her name? Camille Vasquez? Holy shit, she's terrifying. And I mean that as a compliment. Johnny Depp's lawyer is a hellion. Let's go to the chat on this and see if I'm getting dragged or if people are going, I see where you're coming from. Bone Cold says Depp-Heard trial is huge because it's showing the world men can be victims of domestic violence just like women can. See, now I agree with that too. You can watch that one. It's close to home. It's celebrities that we know. And you know what? He's right. Now, am I taking out that men can be victims of domestic violence? Fuck no. I'm here for the shit show. I don't care. Men can be victims too. I hear what you're saying, Aaron. Hey, man, I agree. But that's not my fucking point. My point, anytime you guys think I'm making a really deep point, assume that I'm being far more shallow than that. 1,000% more shallow than that. Hey, Aaron, are you? I heard your rant about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and it was really good. You stood up for men who are the victims of domestic violence and showed that women can be abusers too. I'd be like, yeah. Or I just like watching these two lunatic millionaire narcissists damage each other to the point of irreparable harm. That's the only reason I'm watching it. But yeah. Men can be #victims too, or some shit, or time's up, or what are we talking about? I'm here for the parade. Ryobi says, this rant is straight out of Miss Maisel, and it's fucking on fire. I've never watched Miss Maisel, but people talk well about it, so thank you. I Sneeze says, Joe Biden is the cause of Johnny and Amber's divorce. Yeah, fuck him. Ugh. Zio Gold says, the leftists don't want men to be seen as victims of anything. I don't give a shit how leftists or righties or anyone else want to see the Amber Heard. Don't ruin my buzz on this fucking shit show of a trial by bringing in lefties and I don't want Ben Shapiro coming in here and breaking down why the lefties don't like Amber Heard or Johnny Depp. I don't give a shit, you weird little Jewish munchkin. Let me watch my fucking shit show in peace. I don't want to watch Crowder and his 2-hour gay cope of a show. We get it, bro. You like pussy. Now put the fucking shoulder holster away. You don't know how to use those. You're going to put an eye out with that thing, Steven. Enough. If I say you're not gay, will you take it off? Because I feel like that's what you want. Fine, Steven. You're not a homosexual. Stop crying. Just take it off. Toastmaster says perfect Shapiro impression. I do what I can. Amber Heard is very typical of the woman who abuses men, okay? The way they abuse men. How does Ben Shapiro get famous talking like a 14-year-old California chick? How does that work? At any rate, good for him. I'm just being jealous. That's all it is. But I love that people. I'm not one of these people who goes, typical Americans distracted by bullshit. I love that they're distracted by that bullshit. That's the kind of bullshit you should be distracted by. I saw an article today. They were talking to Fauci about COVID. I'm like, people give a shit about COVID anymore? Here's the only thing I care about with COVID. I don't want them bringing masks back before April and I have to fly out for our anniversary. And I also only want to hear what that study says about why these kids are getting hepatitis. They've got a study in the UK that they're about to release the results of that are going to tell us why all these kids all of a sudden in the last year or so have been coming down with liver inflammation. And I know they said yesterday, hey, we're studying how COVID-19 might play into this. And I'm sitting there going, go on. So that's what I'm excited about. Curly Adams says, this is why I love this show. You report the news, then just make fun of it. Right? It's not like I'm sitting here going, I ignore all the shit and don't know anything about it. I know a little bit about all of it and then go, here's why it's not important. Fuck these people. Live your life. Enjoy what you want. You know what? I can't stop. I still haven't been able to stop watching Brendan Schaub shit. You might be going, hey, Aaron, you've been doing like 2 or 3 Brendan Schaub controversy videos. Dude, I could do 7. Brendan Schaub was on Bobby Lee's show. I'd love to. Did we played that? You know what? We did do that. We did play that audio, actually. I think we did that one. Okay. But he's been on a couple of other shows. And Kalila talked about him again today on her show. And her and Annie Lederman blew him up. And I would love to talk about it on this show. But I know when my audience is sick of something. I love that shit. If someone comes to me and says, did you hear about the Ukraine? I'm like, they pushed the Russians back to the border in Kharkiv. That's all I know. Who gives a fuck? Like, what do you think about the $40 billion to give them weapons? I don't give a shit. Do you want them to give them weapons? No, fuck them. They got enough of our Javelin missiles. They got like a third of our stockpile. If they can't beat the Russians back with that, they don't deserve to have a country. Do you mean that? No, I just want to talk about Brendan Schaub, and you're not letting me.